Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Matt Brown. If you're new here, make sure you smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any scorching content I'm about to bring your way. In this series, we're diving deep into the world of investing and entrepreneurship, connecting with top tier minds to uncover the secret strategies of the elite. Additionally, I'll be sharing some reviews of premier products and tools that can supercharge your business. Today, we've got a true luminary joining us, Steve Leitch. Not only have I personally teamed up with Steve in recent months to make several multi-million dollar real estate investments, but I've come to know him more of a man of humanity with a greater purpose beyond just amassing major wealth. We'll explore his mission a little bit later in the episode, but for now, let's get better acquainted with this high caliber investor. Stay tuned. Steve, how's it going, man? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me on here and looking forward to having a conversation.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Hey, dude, we were just chatting. You said you need to get a haircut. Dude, you look clean, man. That's, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
It's not fresh. That's not fresh.
I don't know what fresh is, man. Like that, you're looking sharp, man. Hey, well, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. And before we get into some of the questions in the interview, let everyone know Steve a little better. Let me just ask you just a really quick question. What time did you wake up today?
4:44.
That is a very specific time.
Well, I woke up 1 minute before my alarm went off, and my alarm goes off at 4:45 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Really? Okay. Why those specific days?
Because those are the days I go do CrossFit. So we leave the house at 5:10. So that gives me 5 minutes to just have a quick prayer. And then we gather up. My bride, one of our daughters, go to the CrossFit. We meet up with Gordon over there. Gordon Thornton, my business partner and brother in life.
Yeah.
And then we get back and it's into our morning foundation.
Dude, I love that. And that's, one of the things that I admire about you and that I've realized about you is, that your mindset seems to be, one of the key factors of your success, not only in business, but in life. And, I was going to ask you, what are your daily habits and routines that are attributing to that positive and productive mindset? And you're like a Jedi. I mean, you're one step ahead of me. I mean, you answered the question before I even had a chance to ask it. And I think you probably saw where I was going with that intro.
Yeah.
So that's Monday. So that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What about the other days?
So Tuesday, Thursdays, I get up at 4:30 so I can do my morning devotion for 30 minutes. And then I drive to swimming at 5 to be in the pool by 5. The doors open at 5:30. So I try and be in the pool. And I hate the word try, but between 4:30 and 4:40, because sometimes I like to chat and sometimes I just like to jump in. So I don't really limit myself for that as long as I'm in by 5:40. But then I get back from the swim really at about 7:30, 7:40, which puts us into morning devotion with my bride every morning. I call my wife Kelly, my bride.
Yeah.
I just think it's hot. So there's a different. I make the morning schedule work for me and my family. Not I'm a slave to my schedule.
Yeah, I love that, and that's where I can see that you've set yourself boundaries, right? You've set yourself a tolerance of when you need to get into the pool, and you're kind of, and I don't want to say hard on yourself, but I mean you're holding yourself accountable to that tolerance. I mean, you're saying, hey, listen, I try to be in the pool within this, this time and this time, but I have to be in it within, that certain area of the morning. And I think that's also like a good mindset to have as well. And you hit the nail on the head. I'm not going to make myself slave to a schedule or anything. So that's a great philosophy. And I don't know if you're if you know Alex Hermosi, if you're familiar with him. He
might have heard of him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know if anyone who hasn't. I mean, he broke the internet.
I think there's kind of a lot of people that haven't, but probably not the people I talk to.
Exactly. Because I mean, like, yeah, I mean, he broke the internet last week or the week before when he gave away his latest book, 100 Million Leads. If I can find the link for it, I'm going to drop it down in the description so everybody else can get it. But Alex Hormozi, I love the guy because he's like in your face. And a quote from him that he said recently that just kind of resonated with me was, "Making your bed in the morning won't make you wealthy." And it kind of it goes against what a lot of mindset coaches are saying, because I like to make my bed. I'm not gonna lie. It's that small win that you compound on. It sets your trajectory for the day. But Alex is like, yeah, that's cool and all, but you got to do more than just make your bed. You've got to go to that next step, and that's what a lot of people need. They think if they just do one thing, get one win, that's it. And it's like, no, it's like Nike. Just do it. Take action and keep taking action. You don't stop. You got to keep going, man. And I love it. You've got those little compounding wins throughout your morning, and you just described only like 2 hours of your day. So man, I love it, dude. Thanks for sharing that. Every conversation I have with you is very positive like this. Even as we run into hiccups and some of the projects that we've done together, you're always like, you're the positive guy. You're like, yeah, you throw some like inspirational quote out there, and then you go like take action in that mentality. And I'm like, I love it. Just love it.
Yeah, I mean, you just you're talking about mindset, and my mind can be a really dark place if I don't, coming from a background of addiction and overcoming that without even going to rehab, just by the grace of God, Wow. But my mind can be a really dark place if I internalize too much. I'm a very internal processor. So the constant isn't the win in the morning. The constant is the move. And what is the move that can create the most momentum? Because when we start working in wins and losses, then we stack up wins, which give us that emotional charge. But then when we don't have enough wins, people start thinking about losses. And it's like, oh, I'm losing. And a lot of people can't handle loss. Whereas I look at as wins and losses, I don't do that. It's like, keep moving. This is not a win or a loss, but this is hard right now. So I've got to lean in and learn. Failure, we use this word failure is like teaching one of our daughters how to drive stick, and she's getting frustrated on day one. I'm like, look, here's the thing. We are going to fail our way to success. She's
part of the process.
Just if we turn failure and just make that word equal learn, we're going to learn our way to success. So that's what I try and do every single morning, is just learn more about me, learn more about the process, learn about moving forward, learn about the hiccups, learn what didn't work. Like, I didn't put my keys in the right place last night to set me up for success. Or like this morning, I didn't put my hand grips for CrossFit. I put them next to the bed, but I didn't have them in a bag next to my clothes.
Yeah.
So I learned that I need to have an extra step in that process.
Yeah. Got it, man. I love it. That's so inspirational. And so many people can take that and apply that to every area of their life. It's not even just business or, this one relationship with a family member. Apply it to, like you said, just going to work out, making sure you have the grips in the right place so that you're not having to search around for them. Me being a young father of young children, so I'm still learning every day. I mean, I look at my failures in the morning as I'm like, okay, should have handled that situation a little bit better. What was that a teachable moment to my daughter where I could have like said, hey, this is why we have a process. This is where we failed and where we can put a process in place so that you can be more successful getting out the door. So I can be more successful of teaching you as a father. And I love it, man. I love it. That's a great story. Great analogy there. And just tell us a little bit more about your background.
I think also not to cut over you real fast there, but when it comes to your kids, always remember this: you have way more reps in the process that you're doing than they do, and you've got a foundation of reps that they don't have.
Mm.
So like parenting is not going, hey, do this. Parenting is kind of like coaching. It is coaching.
It is. It
And
is.
it's like people support what they create. So, okay, how do you think we could get out the door faster?
Mm.
What is the process you think? Because your step could be way too advanced for your
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah. That's
And
amazing.
and that's where so like we'll probably get onto this adventure swimming that I do, but I've broken that process in the middle of like a massive swim down to the most unbelievably simplest thing you could ever imagine. And and we can go there now or later, but
Let's go ahead.
basically a lot of okay, let's do it. So
Yeah.
basically a lot of ultra swimmers, we talk about making it to the next feeding. And every feeding's like 30 minutes, maybe 40, while you're doing these long swims. And when I say long swims for your audience, we're talking 20, 28 miles plus.
Wow.
You're in the water 12 to 20 hours.
Wow.
And I found a lot of times like the thought of just making it to the next feeding was too much.
Mm.
And a really, really amazing swimmer, Darren Miller, got this advice from Steve Redman, another amazing swimmer. He's from Ireland.
Nice.
And these guys are both on Ocean 7. But Steven said, just don't quit putting one hand in front of the other. And so I was thinking about that during the process, and I'm like, yeah, I like that, but I can simplify it even more. Just keep putting my left hand out and my right hand will follow, and get the glide, and I'm just thinking about that, just thinking about the glide, not even one hand in front of it, I'm thinking about the glide.
Wow.
And it just absolutely broke it down to the point where I could handle that.
Wow.
And that's the same, what I'm always looking to do in business, whether 3 trees fall on one of our rental properties,
Yeah.
or, whatever it is, like, what's the simplest way to solve this problem?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You had to bring up the trees. That was a fun one, but no, it was handled swiftly and professionally. But wow, that was truly I don't want to say that was a failure. That was just a learning process that we came out very successful. So hey, you touched on it, swimming. Yeah. So let's get to know Steve a little bit. Like, let's just go ahead and jump into that. So you're a long distance swimmer, right?
Yeah, I think for a point there, I was calling it ultra swimming, because
Okay.
like marathon swimming's anything up to 10K, like 5 to 10K. And really the swims that I'm looking at now and doing are 20 miles and up. And I realized the other day, it's like, it's more adventure swimming. I really like the adventure, like everything around it, the logistics, the traveling, the seeing, being somewhere new, the putting a team together to, with our incredible videographer Herschel to film things, being able to go on the trip with my bride and she's on the boat, every swim I've done over 20 miles, she's done with me. And that's like a connection point, especially, but it's an adventure because like still, I mean, you probably have a perfect marriage where nothing ever goes wrong, but we still have emotions inside of our marriage that we have to overcome. Because I'm like, this is what I'm doing. I'm going swimming, and it's like, oh well, there's my team. It's not about me, it's about the team, and the team goes through their own adversity. So I think it's an adventure, not just for me, but the team, and we all have our own kind of evolutions or crucibles to go through. And this last swim in Hawaii, we started at 6:00 on Easter Sunday, 6 p.m. at night, swam through the middle of the Pacific from Molokai to Oahu.
Wow.
Pitch dark other than when the moon came up, trillions of stars in the sky, bioluminescence. I mean, absolutely incredible. 4 to 6 foot swells. So there's points where I can't see the boat can't see me. I've got a little flashing red light on the back of my beep, beep. It's not even got a sound. It's just a little flashing light. Literally, it's a light that goes on a dog's
collar or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're out there, and all of a sudden you realize how small and insignificant you are in this universe,
Wow.
and how little control you actually have. Um, and so it really just boils you down to the basics of like,
Wow.
what am I going to keep going?
Yeah. Wow. I
Am I
mean,
going to keep going?
talk about the endorphin release, right? I mean, you can't get that type of mentality, that type of shock out of, something like cold plunging. I mean, I love cold plunging, but I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like what you just described is just like, boom. I mean, you're out in the middle of the ocean between two islands in one of the most beautiful places of the world. You've got your team behind you. You've got your bride, which is like your life partner, your rock, your foundation. Like, we're going to conquer this earth together while we're here and even in the afterlife, right? So you've got her support on the boat, and you're out there like just kind of taking it all in, like in its rawest form by yourself. And you get that moment of, okay, I am like this big of a speck into what everything else is. Like, what an amazing feeling. And like, I mean, people don't get to experience that. I mean, how would you say someone like me, like an average Joe who doesn't do like these extreme swims and things like that, like how do you tap into that type of experience without going to like assemble a team and and do this massive accomplishment of swimming from island to island?
Yeah. Okay. So I believe that we go through harder things in life than we do during extreme sports or extreme athletic achievements, whatever.
Mm.
So, like for me, and I can't speak to you, but for me, going through addiction, going through a divorce, going through bankruptcy was way after divorce, dropping my kids off on the weekend
Mm.
or after a weekend
Yeah.
back with my former spouse, that hurt
Sure.
right here in my core way more than any physical pain I went through out in the ocean. So it's not about finding this motivation or some spark of wow, like um, kumbaya out there. It's more like this is beautiful, but
Mm.
this is a metaphor for life.
Yeah.
At 4 hours in, I was pretty close to quitting. Not that I was going to quit, but it was like I was questioning. I was questioning what was going on. At 2 hours, it got pitch dark. 2 hours into the swim, it's a 13-hour swim, pitch
Yeah.
dark.
Wow.
And the kayak, who's on my left side, which I always breathe to the right. So for that entire swim, I had to breathe to the left, which I never do.
Mm.
He got pushed by the wind. There's this long line behind the kayak, which is a shark shield that has an electric pulse coming out the back of it to distract the sharks. Me being bait,
Oh,
and he backpedaled with his oar, and or his paddle, should I say, not an oar. And the shark shield compressed, and I swam over the top of it, and it hit me in the chest and sent an electric pulse on my chest. Then it hit me on the side, and I was like, I'm pretty sure everybody in the islands heard me drop a naughty word as I swam in the opposite direction to get away as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But then I get, I'm getting stung by Portuguese man o' wars. I started puking at about an hour and a half. So 4 hours in, I've got no nutrition. I've been stung by Portuguese man o' wars. I've been electrocuted. I feel like I'm swimming in place. We're in 4 to 8 foot swell. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't know. And Miles, the paddler, had just come back in from his first break.
Okay.
And I'm like, Miles, I just don't know. And he's like, hey, man, it's called a challenge for a reason. That's why less than 100 people have accomplished this.
So you're still wading water or treading
I'm
water?
treading water. I'm treading water.
Yeah.
In a black abyss.
Yeah. Wow.
A black abyss. While the waves are going.
Yes, yes.
And you think about like going through something hard in your personal life, you sometimes feel like you're treading water in a black abyss. Like you don't know how you're going to make it through. You don't know how you're going to overcome it. You don't know if it's going to end,
so
right?
true.
It's
Mhm.
life. So I was like, I broke it down. Went, I'm going to do what I know to do, and that's I'm going to go pray about this.
Mm.
So I started swimming again. I'm praying, um, and I'm like, "Hey, Lord, I asked in Jesus' name for you to calm the seas, and I'm not really sure why you didn't do it.
Mhm.
It would have been nice."
Right?
I was really hoping for maybe like a little bit of a smoother swim. I'm not sure, have this conversation. At
Yeah.
that point, how I remember this part of the story is another 4 foot wave hit me across the side and just plunged me under the water. So I could be embellishing there. Um, and it just plain as day, God said, I never said I'd calm the seas. I said I'd
Yeah.
calm you in the seas. And I
Wow.
was like, that's me. That's my faith. When I'm going through hard things, when I'm going through good things, whatever it is I'm going through, I want to be taking a step of faith always. And that's
Mm.
where I'm going to find my peace. That's where I'm going to, find my internal peace to be able to handle what's ever in front of us.
Yeah. Wow. That is so motivational. I love that. You know, I love quotes, right? And instead of just rattling off cliche quotes, right? I mean, like one that stuck with me earlier this year was, motivation is what it takes to get started. Perseverance is what it takes to follow through. Great quote, right? But the story that you just gave actually puts, a sense of reality to that quote. Here's an example of that quote. I mean, your motivation, right? You got in the water. This is what you do. You got a plan, right? 1 hour in, 4 hours in, all this stuff did not go as planned. You said your prayer. You had Steve's plan. God said that's not your plan.
Right.
But you reached for that inner strength. You got the answer. It wasn't the answer you wanted to hear, but you persevered. And dude, I love that. That is so deep, so heavy. Man, thank you for sharing that. And just a quick question. So just to reiterate, it was a 20, how many miles was the swim?
Yeah, it was 28 miles from the west side of Molokai to Sandy Beach in Oahu.
Yes. Okay. And
We
how
finished
long?
at 7 in the morning. So started at 6 at night, 12 hours, 54 minutes. Yeah,
Wow.
I think I was the 90 at that point, the 93rd person in history to do it, and I believe three more people have done it. So we're still under 100.
Yes.
Um,
And that was just recently. That was this year, right?
yeah, that was April.
April.
Easter
Yes.
Sunday. Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, yeah. So this is so cool. So this is like recent, and I mean, I believe I saw you on the local news and a few other places. I mean, are there other places where people can find this story about Steve, and also tell us why you're doing this? I mean, bigger picture, like what's the purpose? Why are you doing these amazing things?
Yeah, yeah. The big, yeah. So I started doing these swims, and it was very like it was to push myself and see what I could. But then I was like, I want to do more than just swim. I want to do it. I want to be the sweat equity to help other people.
Mm,
If I'm going to go on these adventures, if I'm going to go swim, I don't want it just be about human achievement. I want it to be about human service. Like, how can I serve people? And so this one, we partnered with Miracle Hill to raise money for the Miracle Hill foster children to get mental health counseling
mm,
services or counseling services because it's very hard to get all the paperwork or everything done in time. So we created a fund where um, the bills can get paid. But and that's the swims in the future are all about again raising money because I want to make a I want to be able to help people without them ever knowing who I am. So like, how can we fund someone? How can we help somebody financially? How can we build in the future, build sober living communities? We're starting a nonprofit right now to start building long-term sober living community in the upstate. That vision's 2 to 3 years out. but that's what we're working on. And the reason we're doing this again is people were there to help me every step of the way. And if we do anything spectacular in life, it doesn't need to be about us. It needs to be about how do we use this to solve a problem for somebody else. If everything went to plan, I don't know that we could even get as far as do as much as we thought.
Right.
Because I think so often everybody's plan is just trying to get back to normal and comfort. And
Right.
What I've noticed is the more you try and get comfortable, the more you try and find normal, the less you can. So you might as well just go out and live and try new things, have fun, and make sure you're doing it with your family, with your bride, with your kids, with your spouse, and keep your circle really, really tight of who you're going forward with, because not everyone is going to understand your vision.
Yeah. And that's, what I love about this investing community, entrepreneurs that I've gotten involved with recently. I've met people such as yourself, Gordon, just so many go givers, not go getters, but go givers. When I tried investing, goodness, 10 years ago, it was really a lot of secrets were kept to themselves. A lot of people just kind of showboated a little bit about, hey, I've got all these properties, I'm doing this, doing that. And it's like, oh, cool, could you help me? And they're like, well, just go get yourself a realtor and go make some offers and you'll figure it out. But now it's like you start connecting with people such as yourself, and people are actually opening up and saying, yeah, let me teach you how to do this. And it's all about sharing, it's all about collaboration, that whole mindset of 25% of watermelons better than 100% of a grape. There's more juice on the bigger projects if we all come together. We'll scale, we'll figure it out. We'll run into problems as usual, but having 3-4 heads attack the problems, we're going to come up with a better solution. And that's just been like a huge industry shift that I've seen just in the last decade of everybody wanting to help each other out. Now, let me ask you this question, Steve, because I know a little bit of your background. So, I know you're an investor, you're an entrepreneurial, you've got or entrepreneur, you've got these. You want to be a go giver in the fact for charity and all these great things that you're doing. What were you doing before all of this? I believe you were managing some high-end restaurants. Like, what was the early Steve's career like?
I was a chef, and then a food and beverage manager, restaurant owner for a while. That went down in flames during the economic crash in 2008, 9, 10. I went down in flames, rock bottom, just super insecure kid. My 10 years or 15 years inside the restaurant business of being a functioning addict caught up in me. And I just hit rock bottom. It's a very hard thing to talk about, especially up here in Greenville County, because the restaurant wasn't Spartanburg. I mean, for a while I was trying to hide from my past and not wanting to talk about that. But it is what it is. I can't change it. It's who I am. It's what shaped me into the person I am today. And then got into corporate America without a locum tenens company. So I was an agent for medical oncologists and short-term contracts around the United States. And corporate America is definitely a very interesting place. There's a fear, power, and control that they instill in you. So it's like the first 2 years, it's all build you up as fast as possible to try and get the golden handcuffs on you, and then it's fear, power, control the entire, and the messaging is just disgusting. So disgusting. I just realized it was actually when I went remote, I was able to see it before COVID, way before COVID. I was able to see this, their leadership framework, what they were using, and I was like, this is not the conversation I'm having with entrepreneurs. This is not the conversation I'm having with businessmen outside of like this corporate environment. And I was like, okay, I've got to create a runway. I've got to make a plan. I've got to create a way to get out of this for me, for my family, and honestly for my mental health.
Sure.
And that's why I just started praying about it, like, and meeting people and talking to people and making relationships and going to coaching events, and just a ton of different self-investment things
Yeah.
to learn skills and really start only as free as our mind, as we allow our mind to let us be.
Mm.
Like freedom, you can still be free up here, even if your body's not free in a prison,
Yeah.
and that's what I've been working on for years. I was like, my faith is the most important thing to me. Then my marriage, then my kids, then who I am as a person, as a businessman. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
And I think as men, we try and lead into that as this is who I am as a business person. Well,
Right.
that's not that's not who God created you to be first. You
Yeah.
know. Um,
Yeah.
so that was kind of getting out of corporate America and untangling from that over this last 6 months. I mean, mentally I was untangling myself, but then the last 6 months has really been interesting, like moving into this entrepreneurial space, because it's back where I was 12 years ago when I went bankrupt.
Yeah.
So
Right.
again, how do we just keep moving forward? How do we buy more properties? How do we leverage what we've got on the properties for 1, 2, 3 years from now? How do we build this documentary that we're coming out about the swims to help fund the future swims, to build a nonprofit to get money for the community?
Yeah.
Problem solving. And then my personal coaching, my legacy coaching,
Yeah.
that's really one-on-one coaching for entrepreneurs, business people. I'm really going to start niching down into real estate people, because I think there's so much there where um, there's just we've got so much information, but again, we don't have a lot of execution.
Exactly.
So it's learning how to just keep moving forward no matter what the issue is, right?
Yeah. Right.
And I've got our good friend Gordon. He's done a great job of that,
Yeah.
creating new foundations with people. But I've had 5 clients over the last, I think, 18 months who I don't even coach on sobriety,
Mm.
but because of the new life that there were, new game plan, new vision, whatever you want to call it, their legacy vision for their life, because they've decided they don't want to just die and leave money anymore. They want to actually
Sure.
live their legacy every single day. They want to live it through their spiritual growth, their physical growth, their relational growth. They quit drinking.
Mm.
It doesn't serve them anymore. They're like,
Sure.
why am I going to go to an event where I'm there to network and meet people, but these people are, everybody's drinking and you don't remember anything?
Yeah. That's
You wake
true.
up feeling awful the next day.
Right.
Or this weekend, Labor Day weekend, a 3-day bender. So
Yeah.
what are you actually going to accomplish on Tuesday? So just
Mm.
make that a 4-day write-off. And I
Right.
just think there's such a different way to live, really live differently to this world. And that's what, partnering and legacy lifestyle is all about, is how do I want to live in this world? What is it I want to pass down to my next generation? What generational cycle do I need to break in my life?
Mm.
So that's
That's,
the three
yeah.
the three things we're doing: real estate investment, it's the documentary, and the swims, and the nonprofit, and then we've got the coaching. So
Wow. Wow.
we
I
we
love
stay
it.
busy.
Yeah, dude. And again, you're that Jedi, right? These mind tricks you're pulling on me, because one of my next questions was going to be about your future goals and aspirations. Man, you got to it right before I had the chance to ask you. So the coaching program, let's talk about that a little bit more. What's the name of it one more time?
It's legacy lifestyle,
Okay.
and there's no marketing out there. There's nothing. There's a small Facebook group of 500 people. The people I've coached over the last um, 3 years have been complete referral,
Okay.
and we actually sit and we talk to before we might even get to know each other before
Yeah.
even a conversation around coaching. And
Okay.
usually it's a lead in of somebody wanting to do like an endurance event. Okay.
Mm,
Because entrepreneurs like to push ourselves, right?
sure. Yeah.
And so I've been doing endurance coaching. I've figured out this plan, this blueprint for entrepreneurs to go do an event, whether it's a Spartan, an Ironman, a marathon, ultra, whatever is the event they want to push them on, where they're going to have to train.
Yeah.
But that's the lead in to time management. And
Exactly.
how do you hit every pillar of your life every day? How do I grow spiritually, physically, relationally, have all those things working without taking away from time from my business?
Yeah.
How do I grow my business, my finance, without taking away from my spiritual growth, my physical growth, and my relational growth?
Right.
And it's getting all those plates spinning where they're not going to grow exponentially. Like they're not just going to go, one might go up, one might come down. So then we start tweaking your daily investment to get your life working for yourself, your weekly investment, your monthly investment, your quarterly investment. And before you know it, within 6 months, your life is unrecognizable. 2 years, you're like, I'm a completely different person. 10 years, 12, the person I was 12 years ago, I could probably walk down the street right next to people that knew me and they would not know me today.
That's deep. That's deep. So for people that may stumble across this podcast and they hear this message, they hear about this coaching program, how would they get in touch with you if they wanted to join?
Yeah, so I'll send some links. We actually just published our. Speaking of, we just published our our website. Just a super simple place. It's actually got a little trailer documentary. Trailer of the documentary from the Hawaii swim on there. But you can reach out that way. We'll put the YouTube channels connected on there. We're going to start updating that. We're just getting things going. Again, I don't want a massive. I would rather help be the conduit to change one person's life.
Yeah.
Than 100,000 no changes, but you paid me money.
Right.
Because how many people go into coaching and they pay all this money for real estate coaching or business coaching or whatever type of coaching is a program, and they don't do anything with it.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So you're going for quality over quantity for sure. Love it.
Yeah, for sure. Because I get so much more out of it as well. As when you coach someone else very closely for 6 months, you end up growing so much as well. Because if you can't coach it, you can't live it.
Yeah, I love that. And it's doing something that you're passionate about. So I mean, it's not like you're working. I mean, you're putting in the hours, you're putting in the prep work, and you're executing, but you're doing what you enjoy. You know that you're changing someone's life. You're getting this intrinsic reward back in return as well. So it's that's beautiful, man. It seems like you found a hack in life.
I don't know. I think it was a saying I came up in when I was a food and beverage manager. I used to tell servers, when you're focused on serving someone else, you're not focused on serving yourself. So servers who every single time they got a tip from a table, guilt and shame, like their emotions would either go up because the tip was great or it'd come down because the tip was bad. So I tried this experiment with a guy who works underneath me or with me or partnered, whatever you want to server. And I was like, for 1 month, I don't want you to look at the tips that you get from any table until the end of the night and just focus on serving them and see after 1 month what your tips are compared to what you thought they were going to be. And he had I think it was crazy, like a 40% increase in tips because he no longer was taking his emotions to the table.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. What a great experiment too, that showed proven results of that approach and that mindset. That's that's fantastic. I love it. Um, well, Steve, I don't want to hold you too long. I know that you're a very busy man and you've got a purpose. I need you to get back out there and keep fulfilling that purpose. One quick question before we go into what I like to call the lightning round. But one quick question. You touched on it. I think a lot of people, the whole thing about alcohol, right? Paul, I know some people struggle with it, right? And I'm not 100% against alcohol. I think there's some positive pieces to it, to where it gives you that social aspect. It opens some people up. You can have these conversations with a stranger that you've never met before, and you're sharing stories from college, right? But on the flip side, there are those negative aspects of alcohol. You wake up the next day with a hangover. It's not good for your body in large doses. Some people don't know when to scale it back. And like you said, we're coming up on a holiday weekend, and you might be writing off several days if you just indulge a little too much. What has worked for you? Is there an alternative that you go to instead of alcohol for those, just something kind of to replace that short fulfillment that alcohol gives?
So I'm going to go back to something you said at the very beginning there. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm going to
Okay.
challenge what you said. You said you think that alcohol can be good so that people can open up and have conversations about college stuff.
Sure. Right. Right.
Okay. So if if the conduit is alcohol to be able to have a conversation, then there's something inside of you that is insecure and not able to just be yourself around people.
Mm,
So if you can get to the point where you're just okay with Matt, that it doesn't matter what you've got in your hand,
yeah.
then is that a different mindset, different person, a different security that just says, this is who I am and this is what I'll talk about. And I'm okay with me. And if you're not okay with me, that's cool. But if you are
Yeah.
okay with me, that's cool too. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
we shouldn't ever need a crutch. We shouldn't ever need a conduit. We shouldn't ever need a mask to be
Hmm.
able to be comfortable with ourselves. And
Yeah.
that's what we coach on as well. So for me, just like the simplistic of, I didn't, want to go out where there's people drinking or you go to weddings and things like this, and you're put into these situations.
Right. Yeah.
And I never went to rehab. I just, by the grace of God, He took
Mm,
it from me. But I I came up with the plan,
okay.
right? You got a plan to succeed, or you got a plan to, you don't have a plan and you just don't know. So my
Yeah.
plan was always, I walk straight in, I go to the bar, and I'm like, hey, do you have sparkling water? No, don't, because they usually don't. They'll have tonic water or soda, club soda. Hey, is
Okay.
there any way you can get me some, and I'm willing to pay for it? Yep, we can do that, or no, we can't. If it's yes, we can. Okay, I'm going to be drinking San Pellegrino all night. When I come up, don't ask me anything else. My name's Steve. Here's $5. I'll tip you every time. I just need sparkling water. Trust me, you don't want to see what happens here tonight if I start drinking. Okay. And I'd make a joke out of it. And they'd be
Yeah.
like, what, you don't drink? I'm like, no, not without a passport, you
Right.
know? And so I'm immediately, I'm okay with me because I'm willing to open up and say, here's my story really quickly, and here's why I want this.
Yeah.
And here's how I'm going to make it work for me. There's the conversation. So
Wow.
now I've got what I want to drink. I
Yeah.
can be myself. I can go have conversations. Um, but where I fall down and fail awfully is I'm not going to sit around and talk about college stories. Like
Yeah.
you might as well just roll me off the cliff,
Right. Right.
or drive me off the cliff. I'd
Sure.
rather sit and talk about uh, either your life, my life, or visions, or whatever, just inspiring things. I'm really not very good at small talk.
Yeah.
Massive fail. I apologize. Everybody I come in contact with. Um, it's
Oh,
something
you're
I'm
fantastic,
it's
man.
something I'm working on. It really is. But small talk, I'm just so bad at it.
Oh, dude, you're
So
you're you're
that's what worked for me. So I would challenge you again. Just be so comfortable with yourself, you can share your story of who you are with anyone, because you never know how your story could help somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. See, and this is why I call you such a high caliber entrepreneur and coach and all of the above. I mean, it's fantastic response. I mean, and it is something that people struggle with. The after effects of alcohol, and trying to find some type of alternative, whether it's like kava or non-alcoholic beer, things of that nature.
Sure.
Whatever works for whoever. But you went one layer deeper and said, hey, look, it's it could be insecurities, it could be that you don't have a plan. Whatever it is, you need a plan, and you need to have that so that you can execute on it for success, or you're going to go back to what makes you feel good. And there's the results of going back to those old habits. So that was a fantastic answer. I definitely was not expecting that. That was cool. And I really hope that people get to listen to this part of the podcast to get just that little nugget there. I mean, that was just so creative, so much value. As I go into this long weekend that's coming up, I mean, that's something I'm going to keep in the back of my mind as well, and make sure that I have a plan in place. So that's so cool. Thank you, Steve. Um, I want to jump into the lightning round again because I know you're very busy. It's a Friday morning. You've got your routine. You've got several things to take care of. So what I really want to do is, before I wrap up, I want to ask each guest to tell me and the audience of like your favorite book, your favorite podcast, or whatever educational resource that changed your life and just made your life take off like a rocket. Like what is that thing that just really helped you out?
The thing that helped me out, the thing that changed my life, number one is Jesus and the Bible. So,
Yeah,
like they're just
that's a good
I'm sorry.
resource. Both
That's it. That's simple. I mean, he changed my life. He's continued to change my life. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Am I this perfect cultural Christian? White picket fence, blue blazer, khakis. Showing up looking perfect on Sunday? Absolutely not. That's
who
not
wants
me.
that? That's boring.
I don't know. I don't even know what that is. It might be legalism, but anyway, my thing is like I struggle. I fail. I have dark thoughts, man. Like, and I need him to continue to change my life. Do I get inspired by athletes and businessmen and people who have done things? Yeah, but the ones that inspire me the most. I remember being at this event. Ed Milet was talking, but he shared about this girl. I think she was from Asheville,
Okay.
maybe Asheville or Nashville.
Yeah.
But she was a runner. She was a runner, and I think she had like MS or something, so that she could run, but she couldn't feel her legs when she was running. And as soon as she stopped running at the end of the race, her coach would have to be there to catch her because her legs would, right?
Yes, I remember. Yeah, yeah. I think that was The Power of One More when he was
Yeah.
launching that book.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So something like that where you're like, but it wasn't her faith, her desire to run and knowing it's going to hurt so bad was one thing. Her faith in her coach to catch her was another thing. And her coach's faith to say, I will be here to catch you. I mean, I've got goosebumps, man.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of stories where it's like, where I get angry, like, and I should not, and she's a horrible word, but I get angry because we take our health for granted.
Yeah.
So many of us. We take our, 9 months of intensive counseling this last year since my dad passed away. And a lady who's Laura, who's like my sister she passed from ALS, 9 crazy intensive counseling because I was fighting depression. And in the midst of that, still go out and do these swims and wake up and go on dates with my wife because the inside of me, there's wrong. So it's like, why do we think we're entitled to this perfect life?
Yeah, right.
So I love the overcomer story for me because I believe I'm living it. But the overcomer story for me is the one that just gives glory to God, but also has somebody there that's willing to catch you and to say, I'm going to be here for you. That's what really inspires me.
Yeah, that is just, man, that hits the nail on the head. I know exactly the story you're talking about. Yeah, Ed Milet is he's fantastic. And he delivered that story and that story about the coach that had to catch the runner because she had whatever can't remember what disease it was or whatever disability, but bigger than Ed Milet, Jesus, God. I mean, like that's That's
Well,
the
that's it. As
great.
much as that inspired me, it's funny. Like someone that just, yeah. Anyway, yeah, faith.
I love it.
Faith
I
is
love it.
faith is a game changer for me.
Yeah, and I can tell, like, I mean, again, back to the humbleness of you, like, right? So, I mean, you acknowledge that you can't walk on water. You can swim from island to island in Hawaii, but you said it yourself, and you're like, I can't walk on water. I'm not, God. I'm not Jesus. But I look up to him. So,
Yeah, yeah,
so
for sure.
amazing, amazing story. Well, Steve, man, I can't thank you enough for doing this with me this morning, giving me an hour, more than an hour of your time, working through all the technical problems and issues and like the failure, like finding a message in it. I love it, man. I love it. I can't wait to our next conversation. And where do you want people to find you? If you want people to find you, like you
Yeah,
know,
you can go to Steve Moby Leitch, SteveMobyLeitch, .com. That's the website, or you can find me as steve.a.leach on Facebook. There's a business page and also a personal page. And then there's a YouTube channel that you can get to from the
okay,
website as well. But yeah, I mean, more than that, if you just want to have a conversation, and there's not many people do this. If you just want to have a conversation, and it's honestly a no strings attached conversation, 864-836-7441. That is my cell number.
wow,
That does not go to a call center. It does not go to it. It goes straight to me. I will only ever have one phone number. It's my phone number.
yeah,
And the reason being is you need help. You need someone to help you, or just talk to, or whatever. I'm willing to be that person.
wow, wow. That's so humble.
Remember this: we do recover, and you're not alone.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. That's so great. And why Moby? What does Moby mean?
Yeah, so I became a grandparent.
Ah,
I became a grandparent March 27th. It's a beautiful baby, Eden Carlson, and she's just so sweet.
congratulations.
And we're coming up with grandparent names, and so I'm Moby because the girls all decided that apparently, Moby Dick, the whale. So I don't know what it says about my weight, but we'll keep smiling. But I've just kind of like, this is the next chapter of my life, and it's the Moby chapter.
Wow.
So I'm really embracing this as part of who Steve is, Steve Moby Leitch, and just taking on that because, as I said, generational. What lessons? What about faith? What about spiritual, physical, relational, financial? Can I pass on, not just to my children, but to my children's children, and keep going?
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Love it, dude. You are just such an authentic person. Just to give a direct channel for people to reach out to you. Gave out your number. I mean, there's not a lot of people that are going to do that. So we can just tell from this whole hour that you've given us the amount of value that you bring and the fact that you are that conduit to reach out to folks and say, hey, reach out to me if you want to. Here's how you can personally reach out to me. I will help you in a no strings attached environment. That just says so much about you. So Steve, I can't thank you enough. I admire everything about you. I get a ton of value out of every conversation, even if it is a text here and there. Dude, love it. So, hey, man, I will definitely catch up with you later. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And yeah, man, I'll see you soon.
I appreciate you, Matt. Thank you. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for just being a part of my life, even in real estate and everything. I appreciate who you are. And yeah, look forward to having more conversations.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks,
Cheers.
Steve. Yeah, catch you later.